Hi everybody, and thanks for joining me today. Okay, so as you can see, I didn't really stitch diagonally lately. I've stitched and filled in the part that's right up to the edge of the pillars there, and then I'm going to be stitching the pillars in more of a vertical direction because that's the way the colors go. So I used to tell myself I was going to go diagonally across the pillars when I got there, but I never have, so why bother lying to myself? So yeah. So yeah, we're past 85% now, which is pretty exciting. So let's see, 30, 42. Yeah, so we're making progress. I zeroed out 3 colors yesterday, so that was fun. Just trying to see what size pieces I've got and what stitches I've got to do, whether I want to start a brand new piece or not. Yeah, it looks like all my saved pieces are kind of they're smaller, so I'll get a longer one out. Just carry on from there. Yeah, so it's a nice day. I thought I might almost have to use my air conditioner one last time, but I think it was cold enough at night that it's not going to get too hot in here now that the house is fairly energy efficient. But with the better windows we got and all that. Okay, 159. Yeah, I think this is a color I won't need to keep in my working tray for much longer because, as you can see, there are not many stitches of this color in this area. In fact, not many left in the whole design. There's only 20 left. Oops. Yeah, we are going to probably finish this pass across the pattern this month. Maybe even in the middle of the month. We'll see. As I have, let's see, I'm at line 460 and there's 550, so yeah, there's 9 more columns thereabouts, so yeah, that'll take me probably a couple of weeks. Oh goodness, there we go. Oh, where did I put my scissors? Oh, silly me. I forgot to make sure I had them ready before I started stitching. Ah, there we go. Yeah, sometimes I don't realize till I sort of get going because if I'm parking stuff for later and not finishing it off, then I don't need to use my scissors. So yeah, I had one time I sat down and I stitched for about 40 minutes before the first time I actually needed to cut a thread, and then realized I didn't have my scissors nearby. My son had borrowed them. Which he has lots of his own, so I tell him, you know, mom's crafting scissors are off limits. Plus, he cuts a lot of tape, and yeah, I don't want them getting all gunked up. Yeah, because he makes his little cardboard models of vehicles out of old cereal boxes and such. Yeah, it takes a lot of tape to put them together, so... Parking in the wrong place. I guess I need to zoom in a little more. My thumb is too thick to get a precise selection there. Oh, this darn thing is being squeaky again. Hopefully you guys don't hear it. I'll have to go and fix that bracer bar. Again, that's what was causing the squeaking last time anyway. Yeah, I had a fair amount stitched this morning. But no chance to make a video, so I'm making it for you now. Oh, dear. Pardon me. I had that, woke up an hour before the alarm was set to go off and couldn't go back to sleep, so ugh. Yeah, I think once I get past the pillars on the other side, there's a bit more of the hedges, and then there'll be a bunch of sort of these turquoise green blue colors that'll be finished and I can pack away. Ooh. Yeah, so if I'm not as talkative today, sorry. I am tired. Using my brain power to stitch. This piece is getting short, so I'm going to park it up to the right because there's 3 stitches sort of going off in that direction, down like this, and then I'll start a new one for the others. Yeah, because there's quite a few carrying on down that left edge there. So. Yeah, so we had that frost like last week, but then it's been nice the last few days, so yeah, it looks like we're going to have a milder fall. I certainly wouldn't mind. Every now and then we get a mild one. In fact, I remember the year my son was in preschool, we had a green Christmas, which was really unusual. No snow. You can get one of those sort of once every decade. Yeah, when I was a kid, growing up on Vancouver Island, having snow for Christmas was a huge deal because it only happened every 4 or 5 years or so. And if you did get snow, it didn't last very long. Often it would turn to rain before you got a chance to enjoy it because of that warm sea air. Yeah, would show up and melt it off pretty quick. Except for 1996. That was a year there was a huge snowfall all over lower BC. It was actually interesting. My husband at the well, my now husband, of course, he was a teenager then, but they lived up near the mountains, and he said it was funny because the snow got so high their dog could have just walked over the top of the fence, but she didn't. She still stayed in the confines of their yard, and that she wandered around. She walked on top of the snow and was peeking in their second story windows. I guess she was really curious because she was never able to see those from outside before. But yeah, she stayed within their yard. They'd had her long enough that she knew not to leave it. So yeah, I guess she was well trained. Yeah, she's called Mutsi, which in Hungarian means bear. So yeah, it's a pretty common name for dogs. Yeah, I had a chocolate lab for a while named Coco. Very original, right? Yeah. Okay, again, let's see. Yeah, that goes quite a few stitches, so I'm gonna start a new piece instead of using one of my older, smaller scraps. Yeah, so I did the math, and by the time I reach the far edge here, it should be 89%. So really close to 90. Okay, where am I looking? Just make sure I'm in the right spot. Yeah. There's a lot of very similar colors here, so be careful not to mix them up, which is, again, why I like my grid lines. I would definitely make more mistakes. Yeah, I was saying some of my upcoming patterns, I'm not sure if I'll do them on 14 or 18 count. I don't have more 18 count. I do have 14. But yeah, if I decide to do 18, I might go and spring for some pre-gridded fabric so that I don't have to sew on my own grid. Because yeah, I bought some for the firefly piece and my Ocarina of Time piece. I bought a big piece of 18 count that was not gridded, so I'm having to sew the grid on myself, which of course takes a while. And I mean, I don't need to have it done because of course I've got other projects to work on while I'm slowly sort of just adding a grid line or two every night. So it'll be done in a few months. But yeah, for some other projects, it's kind of nice if it's already done, and once you get that cloth, you can just dive right in. And you don't have to do the counting because they've done it for you. So we'll see. The only thing is, of course, I'll have to get used to the fact that the grid line is actually one of the lines, not between them the way with this sewn-on gridding. That's one thing I really like about it. It actually goes between the stitches, and you can still see the grid line on places that you've already stitched, which is definitely helpful. I'm cross-checking my placement of my stitches. Okay, so this was just long enough. Perfect. Yeah, I've been doing this for a while. I get pretty good at guesstimating exactly how far a thread will take me. Provided, of course, it doesn't do something unexpected like knotting on me, because that really sucks. I've had that before. I sort of had enough to just get 1 or 2 more stitches out, and then it ties itself in a knot. And not only can I not finish, the stitches that I plan to do, I actually have to end up cutting the knot out and pulling back some to get enough of a long enough thread so that I can end it off without it unraveling on me. So yeah, that gets irritating. The bane of a stitcher's existence. Yeah, there's you can buy thread conditioners, beeswax and stuff, that's supposed to help prevent knotting, but yeah, I haven't bothered. That seems like an extra step that I'm just not willing to do. And I know I saw somebody who had started using, I think it was called Thread Heaven, which was like a conditioner, and they quit partway through, and unfortunately it left a rather visible line in the work, and I'm not sure if it washed out or not. I hope it did. But you know, wax is harder to wash out of stuff. If you've ever dripped candle wax on clothes and carpet, yeah, it's a big pain. Yeah, I remember when I was a kid going for the Easter Vigil, and they gave you the candles with the little like piece of cardboard around them, but you almost always managed to get wax on your hands at some point. Yeah, it was not comfortable, that's for sure. So yeah, as you can see, instead of building a diagonal, I'm doing more vertical, and I sort of slowly add depending on the colors as I go along. Again, I'm not as orderly. I kind of just jump around to where the colors take me. Okay, so this one is too short. And as the colors to the right of it are a bit lighter, I'm gonna instead draw this along the back to ensure nothing shows through. Okay. All right, let's see if we have any short little bits. No, I don't think we do, unfortunately. Okay, so I'm thinking, go back to the top for a bit. Just that way I don't end up with too many needles on threads, because then it can tangle more. And again, I'd rather be stitching instead of untangling. There. Thread fiber was split in half. Hate when that happens. Okay, so. So I did that 4 so that I can do all these stitches, because I'm going to do this one, then I'm going to do those two capital H symbol ones, and then these two right there. So then do these H ones, then do those other ones again, then yeah. So I kind of go vertical and just sort of slowly bleed over as it as I go. And either way, I'm still not closing things in. Yeah, it's interesting. I shared this meme the other day saying that it said that people stop listening to new music generally around the age of 33, known as taste freeze, I think they called it. And I said, yeah, I guess that tracks for me, because I said most of the new stuff that I do listen to these days is new stuff from artists that I already liked from before I turned 35, about for me, who are still recording. Because yeah, like Apocalyptica, Josh Groban, Daughtry, Scorpions, Def Leppard, who, yeah, they've been putting out music forever. Yeah, with rock music, they seem to either, you know, quit young, or they just go on forever and keep touring till they're like 80. It's wild. Yeah. Which is amazing, but I don't generally go to concerts. They're too loud for me, even with earplugs. Yeah. Yeah, I said my husband still listens to newer stuff. He's older than me, but I mean, he works at a radio station, so that's probably occupational hazard, right? Yeah, and like I have people say, oh, they hear new stuff through their teen. I'm like, yeah, I have a teen too, but he doesn't really listen to the radio much. He's more of classic. He likes classic stuff. Queen, AC/DC. Yeah. That kind of stuff. So, and a lot of the stuff I like is not stuff you'd hear on the radio. It's like I said, I love like I've mentioned, Apocalyptica, one of my favorites. Most of their stuff is instrumental heavy metal on cellos, that kind of thing. And I love David Garrett. I really like. He plays covers, rock covers on the violin with an orchestral backup, and yeah, I love his stuff. He has a cover of Aerosmith's Walk This Way, which I like even better than the original. He's done some Guns N' Roses and Michael Jackson, and yeah, some good stuff. Like, he's actually classically trained. His first albums were just, you know, like Vivaldi and Mozart, and, you know, the kind you expect from a violinist, solo violinist. But then, yeah, he bridged into, I got two of these, okay. Yeah, he bridged into making rock covers, and I love them. So yeah, it's not the kind of thing you'd really hear on the radio. It's a rather niche thing. So yeah. I always love when I find a friend who likes that kind of stuff, because yeah, they're like, oh, or they'll say, oh, what's this? And then it's like, okay, well, I'm about to dump a whole bunch of info on you. I get so excited when somebody likes the stuff that I like. Yeah, it's funny saying, you know, kids these days, they don't know what it's like to not have lyric sites. You know, we used to sing stuff wrong for months till it broke our hearts. I said, months, try years, you know, or when you would shell out the money to buy the album from the artist, hoping that the lyrics were in the liner notes, and then they weren't. And you wouldn't know till after you paid for it and brought it home, you know. And then, yeah, sometimes it was just a few pictures of the artist and nothing. It's like, oh, what a ripoff. Or said, or, you know, none of this iTunes buying one song that you like. You had to buy the whole album. And oftentimes the only song you liked was the one you heard on the radio. And sometimes it didn't even sound the same. Like, I remember there was one that it was a one-hit wonder, and it was sort of this, you know, upbeat, more faster tempo or whatever. And then, yeah, one of my friends, she went and bought it, expecting it to sound like on the radio, and it was like a completely different song. I mean, it had the same lyrics and the same tune, but like the tempo was half of the thing. They turned it into like a ballad instead of like a upbeat kind of dance song. So yeah, she's pretty ticked off. And I was only able to get the radio version because I got one of those mixed ones that you could buy. You know, they would have today's hits or whatever, and it would have 18 songs by 18 artists that were popular on the radio at the time, and that happened to be one of them. But otherwise, yeah, you couldn't get the radio edit, which I don't like. Like, I mean, I understand sometimes they're going to want to put a longer version on the CD, but I wish you could get both, you know? Because sometimes you don't want a 6 or 7 minute song. You only want the, you know, 3.5 minute version you heard on the radio. Ooh. Yeah, it just feels like false advertising, right? Your country especially seemed to be a bad offender for that. For the song on the album was way different than the one that you heard on the radio or saw on the country music television. Yeah, I went through a big country music phase when I was a younger teen. Not as much into it now, although there are still a lot of songs I still really love and artists. The ones that were from the 90s, I think, because that's when I was really watching it. So Garth Brooks, Trisha Yearwood, Leanne Rimes, Martina McBride. Yeah, I still have a fair amount of their stuff on my phone. I was going to say iPod, but then don't really use an iPod anymore, right? I used to back when, you know, phones didn't have as much space, but now, yeah, now phones have a lot more space, so you can carry a lot more music. But for a while, I actually had, I had a music phone, which was one of my old ones, that didn't really hold a charge for very long, but it was enough for, you know, car rides, right? Or if I was using it at home, I just have it plugged into the charger while I was using it, so no big deal that the battery wasn't great. But that one finally died. I did that for a while, and then, yeah, it finally was unable to hold a charge anymore, so I had to, but then by that point, yeah, by the time I got to that point, then I had upgraded to a new phone which had twice the space, so yeah. You know, that was before when 3 or 4 gigs of stuff was like, you know, a third of your phone kind of thing. Now you got a lot more space, so. Yeah, so when we went to BC, my husband had his music like the way there, and I got to hear mine on the way back, and yeah, he said, you know, you have a lot more country on here than I thought you would. So I said, yeah, I mean, I'm not someone who will really turn on the country music station, but yeah, I have the songs that I liked, and I still have them. I still like to listen to them. Oh, Tim McGraw, that was another one I forgot, yeah. Yeah, and he was actually, Paramount made a prequel to, whatchamacallit, Yellowstone, that he was starring in. Him and his wife, Faith Hill, were in it, playing a married couple on the, and yeah, his acting actually wasn't too bad. I was a little kind of worried because, you know, a lot of times it doesn't doesn't translate. But no, it wasn't bad. Unfortunately, it only went for 1 season, so I was pretty disappointed in that. Yeah, I love Westerns, so. But I think because they only put the first, like, 2 episodes out on the air, because we have Paramount Station included with our Optic TV package. And then the rest were Paramount Plus exclusive, their new streaming service. And I was like, well, I'm not paying for another streaming service. I knew it was going to come out on DVD because they've done that with Yellowstone, so I figured it would. And so I didn't bother. I watched the first 2 episodes, and then I was like, well, we'll wait till it comes out on DVD. And yeah, I'm guessing I am not the only person who decided to do that, to not follow them to their streaming site, and so they didn't get enough viewers. So yeah, I think they kind of screwed themselves there. Yeah, and I've heard that their streaming service is not that great, because I'm obviously in some Star Trek groups on Facebook, and yeah, it was taken down off other platforms, and it's now Paramount exclusive, and apparently they said that the streaming service is terrible. Like the captions are bad, or some of them don't have them. It apparently freezes up all the time when people are trying to watch it and crashes, or the lip sync is out, which, yeah, it's really irritating, or they don't have a skip intro, which, I mean, really sucks when you're binging. And I mean, who doesn't binge watch these days, right? Yeah. It was kind of funny because somebody said, there was a tweet that said, oh, my dad said, I don't understand why you would binge watch a show. It says, you wouldn't read a book all in one day, would you? And it says, well, I guess he doesn't understand what I do with my free time. And I was like, wait, that's not how you're supposed to read books? Because that's how I always did when I was a kid. Oh, dear. Yeah, I was the one who would, go to the library and check out 20 books and come back in a week, and they're like, you're already done? Like, yep, give me more. Yeah, not so much now that I don't really read paper books anymore. And I know that you can borrow ebooks, but I mean, I have so many. I got a Kindle full of them, so yeah, like, in fact, I actually had to go through and delete stuff so that a lot of them are not downloaded onto my Kindle because I was running out of room. So yeah, I only have a couple hundred actually downloaded on there, and then when I finish with those, when I finish reading a book, I will usually delete it from a device. There's a few that I keep on there because I know I'm gonna refer to them, like usually nonfiction stuff. I know I'm gonna refer to them often enough that I should just keep them downloaded and not just in my cloud. But yeah, otherwise I don't keep everything on my Kindle. Yeah, so I'm on my second Paperwhite. It's still treating me pretty good. Yeah, and I'm pretty impressed because I read it at night for about an hour, and one charge will last me about 3 weeks. So even though it's getting to be about 2-3 years old now, so it's pretty good. And I mean, I really love the fact that you can sync across different devices, so you can just read it on your phone and then sync it to your, your actual e-reader. And they can actually sync if you have the audiobook and the ebook. a lot of them can actually still sync that way, which is really cool. Not all of them have it, but some of them do, which is, yeah, like I said, really neat. Yeah, I'm actually been watching, talking of country music, the new show Monarch, which is about like a country music royalty, in quotes, family kind of thing. So yeah, it's interesting. Well, I really enjoyed Nashville, which I didn't see while it was airing. Sort of, I saw previews for it because it aired, I think, like right after Law and Order SVU or something like that. It was near to another show that I watched, so I would see teasers for it. And again, it was one of those that by the time I got interested in it, it was already partway through, and storylines were so established that jumping in midway was, yeah, would not be easy. So I never really got into it. And then I finally watched it like last year because it was on Prime. And it actually got recommended to us because we watched Heroes, which is like a superhero show. And then one of the actors who starred in that one was one of the main characters, starred in Nashville. And so recommended it to me because of the algorithm. And yeah, so I watched it. Now that was good. I binged it in like 2 months. Yeah, I actually got a few good songs out of it that I have on my in my music. Oh, somebody's backing a big truck up out there. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people with their RVs getting them put away for the winter again. That's not the right one. It's this one. Yeah, I knew that was the wrong color, and also it was too far above the grid line to be the right one, unless I had parked it wrong, which of course is a possibility. Did not want to cooperate with me. There's more shading on here than you think. It looks kind of like stripes, but there's still a fair amount of switching colors here to keep things interesting. Ooh. Oh, goodness, pardon me. Yeah, I told you I was tired. I swear, though, I always am. I have been since I was a kid. It's hard to remember a time I wasn't. Okay, if this is long enough, I can actually do a whole bunch in a row. Let's take a look. Yeah, it is. Okay, yeah, this was a thread I started pretty recently. So that will work out just fine. Yeah, still quite a bit of this color left in this design to do. Oh man, it was funny. The other day, I heard this clunking around on, I couldn't tell where exactly it was coming from. It was like from the outside of my house. Going, somebody banging around on my my siding or something. I couldn't figure out what it was, and I walked over, and then I look and I can see all of a sudden this crow's tail coming down, past the edge of the rain gutter there. And I was like, oh, that's what it is, a crow walking around. So I kind of tapped on the window, and he kind of, whipped his head down and sort of leaned down and looked at me from the roof over the window. Then he flew off. It was quite funny. Like, it's almost like you could see the cartoon thought bubble of, what was that? You know? Yeah. They're apparently quite intelligent, crows. There was someone saying that they dropped a ring or something off a cliff. The crow was there and saw it, and they came back later and it was sitting on the ledge for them. Like, it had found it and brought it back for them. Yeah. Or they said there was one where the dad would go and fill the bird feeders and make like he would whistle a certain song when he was doing it, so the birds started imitating it whenever they wanted to be fed, because that was the food song. So yeah. Yeah, or there was one, they said they did an experiment with birds where they had a piece of meat in a bottle and then two wires. There was a straight wire and a bent wire, and only the straight wire would work to get the food out of the bottle. And so then they had two crows, two bottles, and two of the wires, and one was bent and one wasn't. And they said, and they figured that the crows would fight over the one that they could use to get the meat out. And instead, they said one grabbed one end and one grabbed the other, and they unbent it, and then they each had one to use to get food out. So they work cooperatively, you know, without verbal communication. Stuff that's pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, am I going to go back up to the top again? I think I will. So yeah, somewhat vertically, somewhat diagonally. But either way, I'm still just sort of moving out from the top left down. Okay, this piece is extremely uneven. And it's not very long, so I'm not going to get a lot of stitches out of it. That is okay. Okay, so I think I'm only going to get these four, and then I'm going to have to start another thread. You know what? I think this is just long enough. I'm actually going to do that stitch there, because then I can do that purple one I just parked without having to start a new one of this just yet. So yeah, that is why I chose to do that. There we go. Okay, so new piece. Yeah, so I wonder if I will hit 200,000 stitches this, a total at the end of this month. That would be cool. Maybe, maybe not. It all depends. Do have some, this part is less confetti heavy, so that'll allow me to do a bit more, so we'll see. Okay, another. Ooh. Oh dear. Oh. All right, let's do a whole bunch in a row here. Yeah, so, I was talking about watching Sanditon the other day. I finished season 2. I have to say, that didn't end the way I thought it would either. Not as disappointing as I was with the ending of season 1, but yeah, it wasn't where I expected it to go, so now I gotta wait like another year until season 3 comes out. So, I actually had to rewatch season 1 because I'd forgotten a lot of it. Yeah. I used to be much better at remembering stuff, but now, yeah. One season to the next, if it's, you know, I'm not binge watching it after the fact, I have a harder time remembering. Like I said, the Wheel of Time is supposed to come back at some point in the not too distant future, and I said we're probably going to have to rewatch season 1 because I've forgotten most of it. Oh dear. We do that with Game of Thrones as well. We sort of didn't get into it until the first 3 seasons were out, so we binged them, and then we had to wait like a year till season 4, and by the time we got there, we're like, I think we have to start it again because I don't remember hardly anything. So then we watched as each one came out, and when the last season finally came out on DVD, we sat and we watched it straight from the beginning. Watched the whole thing. So. Yeah, I've been really spoiled by binge watching now, because when you watch stuff while it's airing, it feels like so slow, and it's like, oh, until next week, you know. Now we have to wait. Yeah, we finally finished Next Generation with Kiddo. So, enjoyed that. So, up next, Deep Space Nine, my favorite. Yeah, it's my favorite show ever. It's nice people put up wikis for things, because there's oftentimes, even when I'm binge watching a show, I will still forget stuff that happens and have to look it up. Yeah. Thankful for people who are willing to sit down and take notes and compile these databases of information for those of us who don't remember. Oh dear. Oh, is that the right one? Yes, it is. Okay. Yeah, these kind of look similar, so I got to make sure I'm in the right spot. I have done that before. Stitched with the wrong threads, and then it was not fun to have to try and backtrack and figure out what I did. Especially sometimes I have two parked of the same color, and so you have to be really careful, because maybe it's the right color, but you're making the wrong stitches in the wrong place with it. Okay, do bunch in a row again. Oh, and just as I was talking about that, you see, I picked up the wrong one. I meant to pick up that one. Yeah. Just demonstrated what you should not do. Oh, pardon me, my gosh. Oh. Okay, so this one I accidentally unthreaded earlier, because I grabbed the wrong one. Try that again. Oh, don't know if my guinea pig is going to start squeaking at me for food. It sounds like she's just going to happily go back to eating her hay. Oh, that's supposed to be the majority of their diet anyway. If you give them too much fresh veg, they get stomach issues. They would happily eat nothing but fresh veg all day, but yeah, it's not good for them. Plus their teeth would get overgrown. They have to eat the hay because it helps wear their teeth down because, yeah, their incisors grow constantly throughout their life. So that's why they get hay and pellets. And they also get, she has a little stone in salt lick stone that she can chew on too. Yeah, actually, my sister-in-law said one of her piggies was kind of lazy and he wouldn't wear his teeth down enough, so she actually had to go to take him to the vet to get them clipped, which is like, ooh, just the idea sent shivers down my spine. But yeah, otherwise they would overgrow and actually cause him problems. So yeah, I thought that felt like a knot. But yeah, I was able to pull it free, so that's good. Okay. Okay, I think I'm gonna park this one and unthread it for a bit. Yeah, because I'm gonna carry on down here to the left. Yeah, that's what makes the most sense to me now. So do a bit more and then I'm gonna take a break. One of my feet is kind of falling asleep, so I gotta get up and walk around to get the blood moving again. Oh, it's a good idea to take breaks every now and then anyway, when you can. Stretch and walk around and such. Keep things limber. Okay, 37.87. Rats. Hate when that happens. There. Okay, yeah, that foot has gone completely to sleep now, so I will call it a day there. And as usual, thanks for joining me, and hope to see you here again another time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.